on right now. We do have others that are going to be watching the recording that'll be sent out later. My name is Sean Brewer. I'm a licensed physical therapist and the founder of Physical Therapy Application Coach. If you are here and you are getting ready to apply to PT school, you are in the right spot. So excited to be able to have you all here today. Got a bunch of different tips, tricks, recommendations for you, and looking forward to being able to get to know you guys a little bit better. Couple of housekeeping items. If the video freezes, please don't panic. Just holler in the chat box. And a recording will be sent out about an hour or so after the presentation is completed. And you're going to get so much more out of today if you all take the time to get out a blank document or a piece of paper ready to take notes about what we are going to discuss today. And again, if you guys want to come off of the screen, I know it's always, a little, it's a little gun shy. You don't want to be in front of other people that maybe you don't know. But you're going to get a lot more out of today if you're active, you're engaged, you're asking questions, being involved, taking notes, versus just sitting there and kind of hoping that this information just washes over you, as far as that's concerned. If you do have questions, please feel free to put them in the chat box at any time. I will go back through the chat box at the end. And the runtime for the masterclass is going to be about an hour 15 to an hour and a half. Okay. All right. So let me just pull this up here. Okay. All right. There we go. So this slide is very important to me. This is my beautiful family here on the left. I want to start there. So this is my wife and my three beautiful daughters. And they are the main motivation behind why I do what I do. Next in line is you all, pre-PT Nation, the individuals coming up into the physical therapy ranks. I'm very motivated to help you guys have the best information to help you apply to school, get into schools that are less expensive so you can be in a better financial position coming out of school, and then help you to be able to be a PT who thrives. So I've been coaching applicants for over 12 years. I chose to go to NAU for my DPT degree. I went to Brigham Young University for my undergraduate degree. And I currently work at ATI Physical Therapy as an outpatient physical therapist. And when I was at NAU, I was selected by the faculty to review application essays and perform interviews for 17 incoming applicants. Over the course of those 12 years, I've personally performed over 1,700 application essays edits. I've performed over 500 mock interviews, coached individuals attending universities across the country, clients accepted into over 200 of the 310 DPT programs across the country, and I personally was accepted into five of the six programs I applied to. So my goals for you all today are to give you some concrete direction to help you tackle your PTCAS and your other application essays quickly and efficiently. And we'll also be sharing an exclusive limited time offer to work with us this application cycle on your application essays. Now, I want to take some more time to get to know you all. So, um, those of you who are on live right now, if you wouldn't mind, go ahead and share with us why you're here today. Why would you choose on a nice June 14th afternoon, or late morning to come to a class learning about how to write your application essays? What's motivated you to be here today? And you can either type in the chat box or you can come off and share with your mic. Either way, whatever you prefer. Maybe you're nervous about writing your essays. Maybe you're someone who feels like, oh, I'm not a skilled writer. I've never done this before. I'm not sure what to do. What do you guys think? What's motivating you to be here right now? To go into the PTCAS applications with some knowledge of what to expect and how to prepare for essays. Okay, Courtney, great. You are in the right spot. Okay. Hannah, this is your first time applying. Okay, good job. That's great. Welcome to it. It's been a long time in the making, I'm sure, right? Like this, there's a lot of years that go into this. What else? Why is everybody else here? And thank you to Hannah and Courtney for breaking the ice there. Delaney, to feel more prepared to tackle the PTCAS essay. Perfect. You're in the right spot too. Anybody else? Sabrina or China? What do you guys think? And it sounds like everybody's replying this cycle, so it's sometimes we have some people who are there, so who are early birds to this. So to enhance my writing skills, also your first time applying. Okay, awesome, very good. China to be more prepared. Great, very good. Okay, so you guys are all in the right spot. If that's what you're looking for, you have come to the right place. Okay. So maybe some of you have some bad experiences with writing in classes that you've been in or other application essays that you've done. I want you to know and rest assured that you, as a writer, it's a skill that you can obtain. It's not like you're bad or a good writer. It's a skill that you can learn over a period of time. And we're going to help you do that. So if you don't already, most of you are probably connected with us on our either our Instagram page or an email newsletter. So our Instagram handle is at Patapco, and we have a YouTube channel where we upload videos there multiple times a month. We have a free email newsletter, which gives you our application checkup and what if calculator, top 50 recommended DPT programs list, the cheapest programs in the United States, regular pre-PT live masterclasses, coaching products available to assist you with your application planning, essays, and interviews. And that's my email as well. So if you want to scan that QR code at all, if you're not already connected in with our community, you're more than welcome to do so. But by and large, you all should pretty much be on par with those things. So this is the 2024 and 2025, and likely the 2025 2026 PTCAS essay prompt. Most of the time, application cycles, your essay prompts usually last at least 2 cycles, as far as that's concerned. So this is likely the exact same prompt. We haven't had that confirmed yet, but no one has said otherwise. We've kind of kept our ears to the ground with the people who usually leak out that information, and we haven't heard anything yet. So I'm assuming it's basically the same, and it's really good. It's a good prompt. It's probably the best one that PTCAS has ever had in our experience coaching here at Physical Therapy Application Coach. This is the best it's been. So every applicant is unique in their own way, possessing individual qualities, abilities, and backgrounds. What unique traits will you bring to the physical therapy profession that will help you to be successful? So it's a more simplified version of the previous PTCAS essay prompt, which we also loved, but this one's even more clear and concise. And wanted to get y'all's thoughts on what you think about this prompt. Um, Go ahead and type in the chat box what you guys are thinking, or come off mic. Either way. We'll see. That'll be the test for today's masterclass if people come off and are brave enough to speak. Because again, we can collaborate here. You can save your fingers. You're going to be typing essays a lot here the next couple of days. PTCAS is coming on the 16th. PTCAS open, so you're going to be typing a lot. So whatever you want to do. If you want to do chat, totally fine. I understand that. If you would rather do the coming off mic, either way. But what do you guys think of this prompt? What are your impressions of it? Take a quick drink while y'all are thinking. I know I said that we love it here. Main thing being, I feel like in the years past, PTCast put a lot of things in the prompt that they like didn't want people to talk about, and as a result of that, people were writing about the things that they didn't want them to talk about. And this one just talks about what they do want you to share, which is basically followed along with our principles of what we teach and what we encourage for all of our applicants. Um, so yeah, anybody, any thoughts? Nope, nobody today. Okay, all right. Um, in general, I think your wheels might be turning. You might be thinking, what would I write about? What things could I consider? And definitely some good things to ponder about. What would you're immediately thinking like, what would I write about? Right? What things would I include? And how do you narrow down and know what's good and what is going to be not necessarily the most beneficial thing to put in your essay? That's where we come in here, Physical Therapy Application Coach. Okay, so these are some common PTCAS essay prompt mistakes. Folks focus on telling and talking instead of showing and telling. What that means is instead of giving us evidence, they just focus on talking about what they would do or what they could do, instead of what they've actually done, what evidence or proof you have that you've been able to do X, Y, or Z. Okay. Only focusing on one story or experience, sometimes zoning in too much on one particular experience can actually be a detriment to your application, in terms of the essay because it's too much detail. And then on the flip side of that, sharing too many ideas or too many stories, it almost feels like it becomes kind of a characterization of your resume where you're trying to kind of like turn your resume into a story, which is fine, but this isn't the place for that. Your PTCAS essay, especially because all programs are going to see your PTCAS essay, unless that program doesn't participate in PTCAS, is basically you're looking at every school is going to look at that essay. And you want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward, you're giving yourself the best option and best opportunity to be able to showcase why you're awesome, what unique skills, attributes, experiences, life events you've had that have enabled you to develop the skills necessary to be a successful physical therapist. Another one's very common is writing about how other people are awesome instead of yourself. And last but not least is a pre-PT travelogue or writing about your own injury, just like everybody else. So um, when it comes to these last 3 points, it's very common in physical therapy as a profession. We don't like to have praise heaped on us. We're not kind of like needing to be in the spotlight, and as a result of that, um, we often deflect praise to other people, or we don't want to seem like we're being arrogant or conceited. There's a difference between being arrogant and conceited and being someone who is willing to acknowledge what is a personal strength of yours and having the self-awareness to be able to identify that. A pre-PT travelogue is basically like, oh, well, maybe I was thinking about doing nursing or pharmacy or PA school, and then I decided I didn't really want to do that. So I did some job shadowing and I found PT and I thought it was pretty cool, right? So that's fine. If that's your journey, that's totally fine. Not everyone's path is linear. Like, oh, I woke up the moment I was born, I knew I was born to be a physical therapist. That's not how it is for everybody. So totally understand that. But save your pre-PT travelogue for another venue. This is not the place to do that. When you're applying to PT school, it's a given that you want to be a PT. So now we need to talk about what is it that differentiates you or makes you unique or special. And that's your own story. That's your own life experience. Um, and writing about your own injury experience, I don't say this to cut people down, but a lot of times individuals will write about their own injury experience and it'll be like an ACL tear that they had when they were playing soccer and they really loved the PT that they worked with and they got better and they got back to doing what they wanted to do. And so as a result of that, they were super excited and that's great. But it's very common or cookie cutter as far as that goes. And we don't want to be common or cookie cutter. We want to make sure that we are pushing the envelope with what we're sharing and the value that it adds to the program. And on average, we only keep approximately 10 to 15% of any draft. So you don't need to be glued to your first draft. Please don't get it committed to it too soon or feel like if what you've written is, if this is as far as it's gotten, take what's valuable with you and move on to the next draft and leave everything else behind. And don't take it personally like you're a bad person if someone gives you some feedback or some criticism on your essay and says, hey, you might need to change up these particular areas. Okay. Um, does that make sense? Is this tracking for you guys? Go ahead and type in the chat or come off your mic if you want to just let me know if you're getting vibes with what's going on with this, okay? And some of you, maybe you've already started writing or already started drafting your essay, and you might be like, oh, shoot, I did these things. And I want to make sure that you feel comfortable with the fact that it's okay if you do these things. It doesn't make you a bad applicant. It's just how can we go from being ordinary to being a standout applicant? And these are the common mistakes that we see. Okay, thank you guys for those of you who are being active in the chat. I appreciate you. And we've had some more people jump on. So feel free, anybody who's coming in now, make sure to be engaged, to be dialed in and paying attention and comment on things so that way you'll get more out of today. Um, I've been doing this for years, so this doesn't mean that I'm not getting anything extra out of today other than being able to interact with you guys. And that's my favorite part of this job. But if you come in and you take the knowledge and the wisdom that I've gained over the last 12 years and you actually put it into your life and you actually figure out how to apply it to your own situation, you're going to be way farther ahead of the game than a lot of other applicants. So let's talk about how important your application essays actually are. They can either be assets or liabilities to your application. And for many of you, these may be the most important essays you will ever write. But unfortunately, we haven't really been trained in school on how to do it. This is the art and skill of being able to sell yourself and sell what's unique and special about you without sounding like an arrogant prick. Um, and Fortunately, writing in this format is a skill that can be learned, like I talked about at the beginning. If you feel like you're someone who just constantly feels like you've pegged yourself as a bad writer or someone who doesn't write well, um, you are going to definitely want to continue on with this and learn about, hey, maybe I could change my mindset and think, oh, maybe I'm not a bad writer. Maybe I just didn't have the tools in my tool belt to help me write in a way that was convincing. All application essays have essentially the same goals. You want to, one, show your reader how awesome you are as a future PT and make your reader remember you for the right reasons. That's whether it's a PTCAS or a supplemental application essay, that's what you want all of your essays to do, regardless of what the prompt is. And I know some people get really hung up on the prompts. Either way, why are they having you write that essay? They want to see how you articulate yourself, how you present yourself, and how you're going to be in front of your future patients. Um, so that's why these essays are so important. And they literally can make or break your application. I've had applicants who were kind of on the cusp of a lot of their statistics, but they wrote a killer essay, and that's what got them to the interview. And once you get to the interview, it's kind of like everything is equalized. And then that person was able to go in front of the admissions committee and really shine and show their stuff and why they're awesome. And maybe a little lackluster GPA or a lower GRE score didn't matter as much because that essay was something that helped push them over the edge. So I'm not going to say that if you have a horrible GPA and a horrible GRE score, that writing a killer essay is going to fix everything in the world for you. That is not the case. But it can be an asset if you're like on the fringe or on the border. It could be something that could push you over the edge and get you an interview invite. And that is what we're shooting for with every single one of these essays. Your application, everything you've done up until this point with your grades, your observation hours, GRE scores, extracurriculars, that all is very important to get you to the point where you can write an essay. And then that essay combined with all of the rest of your application is going to help get you to the interview if your program has interviews or an acceptance offer if they don't conduct interviews. Okay, so that's why these are important and why you should take them seriously. I know there's some people, especially now, that they're like, oh, I could just throw this prompt into Chat GPT and it could spit out something generic and it doesn't matter. We're going to talk more about AI and using AI with your application essays soon. But that's one thing to definitely consider is you could just take it easy and do that route. But then is your essay actually going to be an asset or is it just going to be a check the box type of a thing? It will become an asset if you invest in yourself and in your effort to make it a great experience writing about your essay and writing about your journey. And it's actually a very cathartic experience for most applicants where they just feel like, wow, look at all this work I've done. It's kind of an opportunity to reflect on everything that you've done up until that point and where it's gotten you and where you want to go forward from there. Okay, I'm just going to take a pause real quick. If anybody has any questions, you just let me know. Okay. I can stop at any time because again, I don't want to bore you guys if you're all just sitting there dozing off. Please come off of the unmute yourself, type things in the chat box if you have questions. I'm here all ears for you. All right, let's talk about some neuroscience principles. So, Dr. Yuri Hassan is a neuroscience researcher at Princeton who studies how stories affect our brains. Research studies argue that the most effective way to get someone on the same page as you is to share a compelling story. And the brain activity of the person who is telling or writing a story and the person listening to or reading that story actually becomes identical. That's crazy. Can you believe that? that you actually get on the same brainwave. And I thought that was so cool when I learned about that. Now, when we look at to like the practical day to day of this, think about your favorite books, movies, commercials, or a friend of yours that just always seems to have a good story, right? These people commonly, or these experiences commonly have some similarities. There's some sort of hero or a person that you're rooting for. There's a conflict of some sort, some character development or something interesting that happens along the way, and then some type of a resolution is finally reached. I would say most people are good at writing about a hero or a main character and then introducing a conflict. The main area where most individuals struggle, especially most applicants, is writing about their development and what the resolution was. So we're good at identifying, okay, this is who the person was, this is what the problem was, but we're not great at identifying what happened along the way to get us to where we needed to go, which is kind of the most important part of the whole story. Okay. Now, whether you're religious or not, I'm Christian, and Jesus Christ and other transformative teachers throughout history and throughout time have used stories or parables to help people remember the things that they want them to remember. And this is a powerful concept. There's a lot of people who use that or think of individuals who use analogies. I was listening to a couple of different mental health professionals talking about just the way our thoughts are and thinking about it like a river, and our thoughts are like rocks that are in the river, and the river doesn't like stop, it just goes over it, right? Or it's like individuals on a bus. Our thoughts are like individuals on a bus. So there's a variety of different analogies that you can use, or stories, or relatable principles that you can give to people. And as you use those, it sticks with your reader. That's the key concept from this slide. You want to use stories to stand out and to stick with your reader. All right, let's go on to our next one here. Okay, so when we look at, now we're going to get into some more of the AI stuff, okay? Because when we have AI, it adds so many advantages to our lives. There's a lot of things that it does that it helps. Synthesizing information and being able to do research quickly and kind of get an overview of different topics has never been easier, okay? We have AI utilization everywhere that we look, whether it's in work or in academia. But please don't use AI to write your application essays. And here's why. There are academic integrity violations that you might have. There are increasingly more sophisticated AI detection tools, which is the irony of AIs becoming better at figuring out if AI was used. So it's kind of a self-defeating loop there. But either way, there's a violation of ethical guidelines or codes of conduct. There's individuals that you can actually lose an ability to gain admission into a university if you're using these tools unethically. And it's a hard area right now because people are wondering what's that balance between bringing AI into our lives versus replacing human thought and ingenuity and creativity. And I think that is a key piece that we all are going to have to figure out where that balance is. I don't know if we're there yet. And some of you may love AI, some of you may hate AI, but the truth is it's here and it's not going anywhere, right? It's kind of the biggest one of the biggest booms of the economy that we've had in a long time in terms of all the data centers that we have to have now, all the energy resources that we need, um, and the the big rush to have nuclear power so we can power all of these massive engines that are doing all of this computing. Um, and so as a result of that, it's finding the balance between using AI to assist you with writing your essays without having it take over and replace you and your individual personality and your creativity. So you can use AI to help you with grammar, spelling, tone, delivery, and message. Okay. So make sure that you're kind of like the analytical side of your writing. Make sure your grammar, your spelling's all correct. You can assess and be like, is my tone too negative? Is it too, am I not being professional enough? Am I being too cold or scientific with my writing? That's one of the common issues I have is a lot of times I'll read applicants' essays and they sound like it's almost a research paper. And you don't necessarily want it to be a research paper. You want it to be kind of warm and friendly and inviting while still being professional. And that your message makes sense, that it's easy to understand what your message is. So that's how you can use AI. I don't want you to be like, nope, don't use it ever again. But if you just take that PTCAS essay prompt that we have, put in a couple of ideas of what you're thinking about and have it spit out a 4,500 character essay, you can do that, but there's a risk that can come with that. There's a risk that can definitely come through for your integrity and your ability to have your application continue forward. And most of all, you're kind of denying yourself again that opportunity to really reflect on your journey and take ownership of what is special or unique about you, because those steps are valuable to help you as you get ready to go into your program, as you get ready for interviews, all of these different types of things. Okay. You guys still tracking with me? Hanging in there? All right. All right. So the bottom line with AI, PT schools want to get to know you, your strengths, and your lived experiences that will help you to be an awesome PT. Please don't deprive yourself of the opportunity to reflect on your pre-PT journey. AI can help you polish your writing, but only you can do the real work and tell your personalized story. AI is never going to be human or have the ability to authentically share lived experiences. So do your own work, share your own story. You can use coaches like us here at Patapco to help you learn how to tell your story in the most effective way. So this is how essay coaches are better than AI. So AI is cool, but when it comes to writing application essays, it can't do what humans do. It's going to help you understand the deeply personal nuances of your story, help you craft a compelling narrative that showcases your individual strengths, tailor your message to fit the specific culture of the program that you're applying to, and offer the emotional intelligence and mentorship that's going to help build your confidence, not just with writing your essays, but with your application and your future career. Okay, I'm going to take another drink break. Anybody have any other questions, concerns, outbursts of emotion? What are you guys thinking? Everybody feeling okay? You doing all right? Excuse me. All right. Um, so raw materials that make up a great application essay. And in just a little bit, I'm going to give you guys a sample of a couple different essays, and I want to hear what your thoughts are between the two different drafts. One is before coaching, one's after coaching. So we're going to start kind of building up this narrative around these principles here. So raw materials that make up a great essay are stories that showcase your strengths. You want these to focus on being authentic. It's a big buzzword that we have in social media and life right now is like being really authentic, which I still feel like in our pursuit to do that on social media, we've almost become even more inauthentic, um, which is ironic and kind of wild. But you still want to be real about your own experiences and use imagery and emotion, how you felt in the moment, how you overcame challenges and obstacles to help you to demonstrate that you have these strengths, that you don't just say that you have them, but there's actual evidence that you've developed them through the struggles and the challenges of life. Next step is you want to hook your reader early and make sure that they are able to track with you on in the first couple sentences. Do I want to continue reading this? Because guess what? Admissions committees are going to be reading potentially thousands of these, and they don't want to be bored. So if your essay is engaging and interesting, you're going to be way more likely to have them come along with you for the journey. Okay? And I can be a witness of that because when I was reviewing application essays when I was at NAU, we got to see an applicant's entire portfolio. So they had their essays in there. We got to see their GPA, their extracurriculars, the rest of these other features of their application. And there was a lot of them that had really high GPAs and were awesome, but their essays were not good. And as a result of that, when it came to the interview, there were two individuals out of the 17 that I reviewed that had really, really good essays. And I was super excited to meet them. And they didn't even have the best GPA. So I looked at all the other people that had the really solid GPA. I'm like, okay, they're good. They've like academically, they've proven themselves. But in terms of having the pizzazz or the wow factor, two of the individuals that I loved the most had more middle of the road GPA, but they were really good at telling their story and being able to communicate their thoughts and their ideas. And as a result of that, that put them ahead subconsciously for me going into the interview. I was excited to meet them. As soon as their name popped up, I was like, oh yeah, I loved your essay. I wanted to ask you more about this part of it. So use your essay for that reason. Next one is show me, don't tell me. Okay, so this refers to, again, apply evidence. Don't just talk at your reader. Make sure that they actually are able to see and have subconsciously these ideas planted in their mind that you are someone that actually possesses these strengths and these attitudes and these experiences. And the last one is to be a victor, not a victim. There are several different applicants, several different kinds of applicants. They have kind of these general writing styles. There's someone who basically plays a victim and hopes that they get the sympathy card from whoever's reading their essay. I don't know if that's a great spot to be in from an application standpoint. I've had some applicants that have had some horrible life experiences. There was one a couple years ago that she was a refugee in a war-torn part of Africa, and she witnessed family members being killed in front of her, and she was on the run for months, and they came over to America and they started over, right? What a horrible life experience. But she did not write about it as a victim. She wrote about it like, hey, this is my story. This is what happened. But this is how it affected me and how it changed me and made me someone who's more empathetic and understanding and willing to reach out and to be there to support other people. And I just thought her story was fantastic because we were able to find that balance between not making it a sob story, but at the same time, you just your heartstrings were just pulled for her. You were so like, oh my gosh, I just can't believe what this poor lady's gone through. And at the same time, seeing how she still is finding ways to have meaningful growth and progress in her life despite the difficult circumstances that she had earlier in her life. So I hope that makes more sense. Of don't You can talk about hard life experiences that you've had, but it's about how you spin it. Are you making it so that someone feels bad for you, and because they feel bad for you, they're going to let you go into PT school? Or are you spinning it to make it more about, well, yes, this was a hard thing that I experienced, but this is how I grew from it and I became better. Hope that makes more sense. Oops. Let's come here. Let's come to this one now. There we go. All right, so this is a sample essay that we have here. This is for um, someone who came to me before coaching, felt like she wasn't really satisfied with the general direction of her essay. And I'm just go ahead and read it. Again, I do want to hear your feedback between these two essays here, okay? And yes, I am kind of leading you because one's before coaching and one's after coaching, but this just gives you a real life example of what the difference actually looks like, okay? So, when I decided to study abroad with semester at sea, I envisioned myself hiking the Great Wall of China, skydiving over the Cape of South Africa, and gazing at the Taj Mahal at sunrise. What I was not prepared for were the unexpected moments I would share with the locals I met in each country, and the fact that several of these moments would completely alter my outlook on the world and my career path. I had always known that I wanted to go into the medical field. Dot, 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 dot. Okay? So, I mean, on its face, pretty interesting stuff, right? Let's go to this one. I gazed out the window of the rickety bus and watched the red dirt road wind through miles of lush green vegetation. My classmates and I were headed to an orphanage about an hour away from the capital city of Ghana in West Africa. I walked into the lobby of the orphanage and opened my backpack to distribute toys and school supplies to dozens of beaming children. I couldn't stop smiling as we played with the kids, running back and forth, playing basketball, and watching them experience a yo-yo for the first time. Okay, so let's talk about that. How are these two different? And what do you feel like moved the needle for you more between these two essays? Let's talk about it. And you can disagree with me if you want to, but I just want to hear what your feedback is. Again, chat or coming off mic, either one's fine. There you go, Courtney. The second essay makes a better hook and makes me wonder how that story will play out or relate to the prompt, right? There's this like anticipation of, oh, whoa, what's going to happen next? Right? And that's exactly what you want. That's how you want to hook your reader because then the rest of the story goes through all of these different strengths and attitudes and attributes that she demonstrated on this study abroad that she had. And then from there, she was able to go and relate a lot of those strengths into the physical therapy setting. Okay. Sabrina, for the second one, I can actually imagine what the writer was trying to say, and it was written in a way where I wanted to read more. Exactly. After coaching included a lot more imagery, which made it easy to keep reading. Delaney, thank you for that. So I know this, like all the mumbo jumbo that I've been talking to you about, like it seems like it's not that big of a deal, but when you look at these two essays side by side, this is the exact same person. And one of these essays is much more likely to be read than the other one. When we go back to the other essay, my biggest beef with this when she brought it to me for the first draft was I don't know where to look. I don't know what to focus on because my attention is being pulled in a bunch of different directions. I'm in China, I'm skydiving, I'm at the Taj Mahal, and I'm meeting locals and I'm deciding what I'm going to do in the medical field. Like there's just too much going on. But is for the other after coaching example, you're just kind of slowly leading me down this path. And it's almost like you're able to build this trust relationship with the storyteller because they're giving your brain something that's easy to follow. It's like a trail of breadcrumbs. Okay. And that's what we can do for each and every applicant that we work with is really make that difference and hone in on that specific skill of, okay, this is what we're looking for. This is how we can showcase your unique strengths. And no, do you have to have a study abroad? No, I'm not saying that. Some applicants get really discouraged and they're like, well, I either didn't have the financial means or my school didn't have the opportunity for me to do something like that. That's not what I'm saying at all. We can make anyone's story interesting. We had an individual who we told his story about how he worked with his family in California, picking in the fields so he when he was at the age of 10 so he could save up enough money to earn a bike, and while this is going on was progressively losing his hearing, right? That's a pretty cool story. And we got an underdog that we're rooting for immediately as far as that goes. So I think it's a great option for you all to just think about is what could I possibly think of that I could use to have my hook like this? And if that makes you feel uneasy or you're not sure, that's okay. Lean into that a little bit. We're going to talk more about those experiences. Okay, so the principles and the process that we are about to show you can and should be applied to any essay, regardless of the specific prompt length or its prompt or the length of the essay. You're going to have to adapt to each circumstance. Excuse me, but the process does not change. It only expands or contracts depending on the size of the essay overall. So here are some brainstorming ideas. You can create a bulleted list of key ideas. Just kind of do a brain dump and write everything out. Mind mapping, a 10-minute free write, using stories to give your essay structure, and talking out loud. Okay? So these are some of our favorites. Talking out loud, I use the voice memo feature quite a bit to help me to get my ideas out and to see what's going on in that regard. And because that's more of my style. You can probably tell I'm a little bit of a rambler, and I go on, but I'll say things along the way that I'm like, oh, that's a good point. That's a gem. That's a good phrase right there. We want to keep that. We want to use that idea. And I'm not as much of I'm more of like a whiteboard kind of a person, and I'll write big ideas up, and then I'm going to talk about it and elaborate on it. I'm not somebody who's going to have a bulleted list. You might be completely the opposite. You might be someone that you would do really well to write down all your ideas and have everything kind of written out that way in terms of your outline instead of just a big concept map. Like for me, that's what works best. But everyone's a little bit different, so that's why we have these different strategies that we talk about for brainstorming. The most important thing is to get your ideas out there, get them on paper, start thinking about things. And then from there, you can be more confident going forward that you've actually got things out. And even when you start writing, you might start writing a draft and be like, no, this doesn't feel right. I don't like this. Don't treat that draft like it was a bad thing because you might be able to use that material for a different essay. Or it's all part of the creative process to help you arrive eventually where you want to arrive. Okay? All right, so there's brainstorming. So we are going to take you through an overview of the brainstorming process that we take our clients through when we first start PTCAS essay coaching. If you take this exercise seriously and capture some ideas, you will have a huge jump start to writing your application essays. Please be active in the comments and or come off mic if that's the case and write things down. Let's go ahead and jump in. So, brainstorming step number one, discuss why you really want to become a physical therapist. So, some questions that will kind of follow that up are how does PT allow you to help people and use an understanding of anatomy in a way that you can't in any other profession? This is a common question or concern that we get from individuals, is they have the two key concepts of I want to help others and I want to use an understanding of anatomy to be able to to help these individuals, right? And that's great, but you need to be as specific as possible. What are your future professional goals? What do you think you want to do? What patient populations do you want to work with? If you're not sure, that's okay, but maybe just think about it and kind of get some ideas on paper. What same thing, what patient population do you hope to work with, and what unique way will you serve this patient population? I feel like regardless, even if you feel like you're not sure, start to create some type of a plan so your career can have some direction to it. A lot of times PTs come in, we get our job, we get our degree, we get our job, and we start working. Have some intentionality with your career as early as you can. And no, that doesn't mean you have to sign on and do one thing for the rest of your life. It just means, okay, I'm going to actually come in, think about what's going on, and be able to move forward, and be able to determine what the next steps are for my career. So, those are just some things to kind of help you think about why you really want to become a PT. And this is an important factor. We include this first because it's kind of a fabric or a thread that runs throughout your entire essay. All right, step number two is to perform an inventory of your greatest individual strengths. So, bucket one are your hard character attributes. These are things like grit, perseverance, problem solving, attention to detail, being disciplined, and determined. And bucket two are more of your people skills. You have empathy, reading body language, relatability, building trust, and approachability. Excuse me. Step number three is to take an inventory of your experiences that showcase your greatest strengths. So there's non-PT related experiences and there's PT related experiences. Non-PT related experiences are things like choosing experiences where you've been challenged or you've developed your character the most. There's a wide variety of, I've shared a few of them with you. People who've gone on study abroads and they've seen the world. Other people who were just in their own day-to-day life. They've had major struggles and challenges. Other people, we had this is one of the few instances that I allowed an injury to show up as a key story in an application. It is because this applicant um, was in a major car accident and it completely altered her life. Like she had to learn how to speak again, how to walk again. She went from a 4.0 student to being on the verge of being kicked out of school because she just couldn't keep her grades up and keep focused with everything and how she overcame that, right? So there's a wide variety of experiences that applicants have, and there's no one size fits all, which is super nice because you don't have to make up something. We just have to look at your life and say, okay, what are some things that we can use and how can we spin these experiences to make them sound like awesome things that are going to help you be a great PT in the future. PT related experiences, you want to choose experiences with challenging patients that showcase your strengths the most. Make sure that your stories focus on why you are awesome, not the other people that are in the story. So it's not about the PT that you worked with, it's not about the patients that you worked with. They are players or supporting roles in the story, but you are the main character. It's about what you did, how you made a difference, and how you made an impact. All right? Okay, I'm going to pause there for a second. Does anybody have any questions about these first three steps? Because I know we covered a lot. What are y'all thinking? Nope. Everybody it makes sense to everyone? Okay, that's good. Let's keep going then. All right, so step number four is to select two experiences that best showcase your strengths. You're going to choose one origin story, which is typically should not be related to a PT related experience. You're going to choose an experience that showcases your strength, hooks your reader early, and uses a lot of imagery and emotion. You're going to choose one patient interaction experience. Choose an experience that showcases your strengths, Look for experiences that use a lot of imagery and emotion. Okay? So now we're going to use what we call the character count method, which is to break each essay down based on the character count and the content that you want to share. So here's an example, an origin story of 1,000 to 1,200 characters, an origin story recap of 500 to 800 characters, a patient interaction story of 1,000 to 1,200 characters, patient interaction story recap of 500 to 800 characters, and a conclusion of 1,000 to 1,200 characters. So the character count method for shorter essays. Essays with a character count of less than 3,000 characters require you to cut to the chase more quickly. The shorter the essay, the less you worry about a hook and the more you focus on emphasizing your strengths and being concise with your stories. Hooks matter more for 3,000 character essays where you need to retain your reader's attention for a greater period of time. So this is where things are really tricky is when you have less than 3,000 characters, you really have to make sure that you grab the reader's attention, but you can't spend too much time with it. So it's really kind of a delicate art, and this is for more supplemental essay coaching. So we're kind of going to take a break from PTCAS essay and give you some more tips and recommendations for supplemental essay. Um, these are the most common prompts that we have, and I'm going to go through each one of them and how we can kind of tackle and address these. So why do you want to attend our program, or how will you contribute to our program? DEI questions. Uh, explain how you know that PT is the career for you, and what is important for us to know about you that may not be evident on your application. What makes you stand out? Why should we choose you? Resilience, adversity, and constructive feedback experiences. What happened and did you handle it? So that's a quick overview of like these are the general buckets that pretty much all supplemental essay questions are going to fall under. One thing that's really neat about supplemental essays that's different than your PTCAS essay is you can stack supplemental essays. Other programs don't see what you submit to other programs. So, since many prompts overlap or are very similar, you can stack your essays. After writing two or three of them, you can start reusing materials from one supplemental essay to another. And after you do this, you have this snowball effect where instead of writing a different essay for every single one, you can kind of Frankenstein things together to make the essay more cohesive. Now, does that mean that you are going to that it's going to be perfectly smooth and coherent? Not necessarily, but you can take bits and pieces of different essays, put them together, and then your time editing is focused mostly on smoothing things out and getting those ideas clarified. Please don't reuse material from your PTCAS essay in your supplemental essays because then we're just repeating the same details and we want to try to be different and stand out. Okay, stacking supplemental essays. You want to organize your essays based around the topic and the deadline. You want to have them grouped together in topics and ranked in order of the deadline. So write your larger essays first and then reuse material for shorter essays. So if you have a 7,500 character essay, write that one first because then you're going to be able, if you've got three other 2,000 character essays, well, you can just take each of those different stories and apply them to whichever prompt suits it more appropriately. And then you're not having to reinvent the wheel. So that's typically why we have you write the larger ones first. Okay, so I'm going to come off and just see if there's any other. Yeah, no questions there right now. All right, so why do you want to attend our program? You want to make sure that you really do your homework and go beyond just location and cost. These are very common. People are like, well, it's close to my house. I could live from home, and the cost is pretty good. While this is very important, and it's one of the main criteria that we recommend for applicants for where they choose to go, you want to look at what unique opportunities does this university provide you in terms of curriculum, clinical rotations, humanitarian trips, pro bono clinics, research opportunities, residency, or specialties. All right. Diversity, equity, and inclusion questions. Focus on experiences where you have worked with people from diverse backgrounds. Share stories to show how you have worked with diverse populations instead of telling how you would do it. So again, a lot of these principles, they don't really change. You just want to emphasize more of what you did instead of what you would do or what you could do. And I think for any of us, whether you've worked at a job, you've gone to school, you've volunteered as a tech, For the most part, most of us are going to have experiences where we've come across people that we wouldn't otherwise come across, just due to the nature of the work that you're going to do and the experiences that'll lead you to a career in physical therapy. And I think that's great because it's a it's like the diamonds in the roller, right? As you rub up against other people, they smooth out your rough edges. And so that's what these diversity, equity, and inclusion questions are about is can you show me that you have the ability to be able to work with other people in a successful manner, despite having differences of opinion or differences of belief or differences of background? And if you can do that and still be professional and do your job as a physical therapist, then you're going to be successful no matter what. Whether you agree with that person or not, can you treat them with the human decency and respect that they deserve and give them the best quality of care? And that's what all these questions are about. Okay, so this is an example of a character count breakdown for a 3,500 character DEI essay. All right, so there's a study abroad or a mission trip story, 1,000 characters. You're going to focus on setting the scene, introducing the conflict of the issue, sharing what you did in response. And then a study abroad mission trip story recap, which focuses on the strengths that you demonstrated, what you learned, and how it prepared you to be a PT. Another one is volunteering or homeless shoe drive slash diabetic foot screening. That's something I actually did in PT school. You're gonna have 1,000 characters, set the scene, introduce the conflict, share what you did in response, and then your recap, which is going to focus on the strengths that you demonstrated, what you learned, and how it prepared you to be a PT. And then 900 characters where you tie everything all together. So I know that sounds very simplistic because there's a lot of legwork that goes into getting to an outline like this, but that's where we come in, right? Is we help you identify what the strengths are, what the stories are that you should include, and then we give you a structure to operate in terms of how many characters that you're working with. Super enjoyable experience to help people kind of quickly arrive at this instead of having them bang their head against the wall for weeks or months trying to figure out what to write about, and we can help them just get there way, way quicker. Another question of how do you know that PT is the career for you? You can talk about your observation hours or patient interaction experiences, experiences that you've had with your pre-PT club or online research that you've conducted to learn about the different profession, the different areas of the profession. Maybe you've done interviews with different clinicians and things like that. And your pre-PT club obviously is your closest in-person network that you can have to hook you up with jobs and opportunities and growth and learning experiences, things like that. It's not fun to go at it on your own, but talking about these experiences and the exposure that you've had to PT and how it's motivated you to be like, you know what, I actually love this profession. This is something I want to be a part of long term. Talk about those things. Okay, so why should we choose you? What makes you stand out? What have you not talked about? So these this particular type of essay, you want to talk about what you haven't shared thus far in your application that is awesome about you. Maybe there's a particular extracurricular experience that you haven't really been able to emphasize, and you really want to hone down on that. Great, that sounds good. Right about that. Identify areas of your application that you haven't already shared. Don't just keep beating the same drum over and over again. If you were a collegiate soccer player, don't just write every single supplemental essay that you have for one program about being a collegiate soccer player. Write about being a collegiate soccer player for one of them, and then maybe write about being, I don't know, a research assistant or whatever good volunteering you've done, different things like that. Your life experiences and personal strengths and attributes are uniquely yours. So make sure that you share those because that's all that's going to really help you to stand out are your own unique experiences and your strengths. Okay, resilience, adversity, and constructive feedback. Again, you're probably gonna be like, gosh, these same principles just keep coming up. That's because they work. They're tried and true, right? Focus on stories that showcase your strengths. Be a victor, not a victim. Write objectively about what happened and then share what you did to grow or respond. And the majority of your response should be about how you grew or responded and overcame obstacles. And this is crazy that we're still 5 years out. This is still on the application, but it's affected very many of us, even from way back in the day. The COVID-19 essay, which is found under personal information or other, and then other information. You want to write objectively about what happened to you and how COVID impacted your application, and share what you did to grow or respond as a result of that. You should make an itemized list to help you keep focused, and you only have 2,500 characters, so you really have to be precise with this. And as always, focus on being a victor, not a victim. There are some people who had a much more difficult and challenging experience with COVID than others, and don't feel like it's the Olympics of suffering who suffered the most. Just share what your experience was, how it affected you, and how that made you have to pivot in your journey. The majority of your response should be about how you grew or responded and overcame obstacles. All right, and this is another bonus is your disadvantaged applicant consideration essay. This is found under personal information, economic, educational, environmental factors. Evaluate using questions regarding family situation, childhood residency, high school information. Write objectively about what happened, and then share what you did to respond or grow. You can make an itemized list to help keep you focused, but you only have about 4,500 characters. So again, you could be a little bit more uh, expressive with this one than the COVID essay, but the same principles apply. Be a victor, not a victim, and the majority of your response should be about how you grew or responded and overcame obstacles. And another bonus, does your academic record accurately reflect your capabilities? You want to write objectively about what happened and then share what you did to grow or respond. Itemized list, be a victor, not a victim. Focus on how you grew and responded and overcame obstacles. Okay, so those could all kind of be lumped into one. Very, very similar. Talk about your experiences, but do so from like an optimistic and upbeat standpoint of what you did to grow and progress instead of just focusing on the sad things that happened to you. Okay. All right. So that was kind of a blitzkrieg of different prompts that we went through. I want to take a break for a second. Does anyone have any questions about what we just covered? Anyone? Excuse me. Sorry. And again, I know that was a lot, but feel free to come off mic or, excuse me, I'm sorry about that. Or type in the chat box if you have anything. Nothing? Answered all of your questions. All your wildest essay dreams will now come true. That's great. All right. Well, while we take a breath and gather, if anyone else does have anything they want to put in, again, if even if I don't read it right now, if you have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box. But I think you guys are kind of tracking with what we're looking for and what we're working with. So every applicant has their own unique story. Each applicant who comes to us, they are at that when they come, they're feeling inadequate, fearful or doubtful, confused or concerned, anxious, uncertain, overwhelmed, and exhausted. These feelings are going to stifle the creative process in our minds that make problem solving and writing more difficult. Every applicant has their own unique story. We focus on giving these applicants the tools that transform how they used to feel into excitement, peace of mind, assurance, clarity, confidence, direction, and focus. And these are the feelings that are going to unlock the creative capabilities of the human mind. Now, these are the faces of some of those individuals that we've worked with over the past several years. You can go watch their testimonials on our YouTube channel. There's a wide variety of people from different backgrounds, and it's been awesome to work with all of these different individuals because they each have their own unique story. They each have their own path, their own progress, and no two of them are the same. I can guarantee you, even some that worked together and went to similar schools, their experiences were different from each other, and that led us to where we're at currently. You have your own unique story, but wouldn't it be great if you could have one-on-one attention to help you discover what is truly unique and special about you? Individualized coaching from a coach with over 12 years of experience. Peace of mind that the final draft of your essay has reached its full potential. And to help you get your PTCAS essay done in less than a week if that is your goal. So I told you that I was going to be sharing a coaching package with you all. So this is our industry standard, industry leading essay coaching package. is for someone who hasn't completed or isn't happy with their PTCAS essay, an individual who is questioning their writing abilities, or if what is truly unique about them as a pre-PT, pre-PTs who are unsure how to sell themselves and tell their own personalized story, someone who's in a deadline crunch and needs to submit their application for verification as soon as possible, which isn't going to be any of you all because you're getting started very early, those who have already attempted to write multiple essay drafts and can't seem to get it right, pre-PTs who want to have an expert in their corner to help them answer their application questions and ensure that their application essays are actually assets instead of liabilities for their application, and someone looking for help with supplemental essays on our and or interview coaching in the future. So let's talk about the value of this coaching package. So not having to have reapplication expenses with applying to 10 programs, $700. At least $3,000 in savings from not purchasing unnecessary textbooks, which is what one of the many resources that we give you are like our top recommended things that you actually need in PT school, other things like that. You get one step closer to that $60,000 to $90,000 starting DPT salary, maximizing control more of your time, maximize your opportunities, your employment, your networking, entrepreneurial endeavors, and move forward with your life with all of these different resources that we have in there. So if you were to go online right now and purchase this coaching package, it'd be $400 or five payments of $80 a month. But because you guys are here today, we're going to be rolling out a special limited time offer. It's good for the next 7 days or until all the spots are filled. You can have $300 for a one-time payment or a $60 monthly installment payment plan over the next 5 months. There's only five spots available, and there's a 14-day money-back guarantee with significant discount on additional coaching sessions as well. Okay. So with that being said, we have these five spots that are available here. I'm going to go ahead and put up in the chat box. For those of you who would like to take advantage of this promotional deal, here is the link. Where'd it go? Uh, come back to Zoom here. There we go. There's the link to go ahead and to get signed up. Um, you can use the promo code PREPT25 to get 25% off. And there's only those five spots that are available for those of you who would like to take advantage of this. This is just to make sure that we can give quality time to each and every applicant as we start this application process and as PTCAS opens in the next couple of days. So if you're someone who really wants to get your application finished, completed, get it off your back so you can enjoy your summer, this is a great opportunity for you to supercharge yourself, get the help you need, submit your application, and be able to move on and have the support of a coach who has over 12 years of coaching experience. So I'm just going to leave that there. We do have a good amount of time if you guys do have application questions. I'm more than happy to address those or other things related to your essays. And for those of you who have already signed up, I'm excited to work with you. I had several of you who are on the call that have already signed up. So let's go ahead, and if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat box, come off mute, whatever it is that you want to share. Okay, Courtney, do most schools require you to submit a resume and a headshot? Courtney, I would say that's more like I feel like the resume request is very common. Most schools, I believe, require you to submit an updated resume. A headshot is probably more likely if the school doesn't perform interviews, but some of them may do it anyway, just so they can get an idea of who you are and put a face to the name. But not necessarily, and it's not like you have to have some glamour shot. Most phones are good enough now that if you had the right lighting, that you could have a decent headshot. So I wouldn't necessarily say that I'd go out and purchase like a photo package to get headshots just for my pre-PT application. But it is something that you could consider just having like maybe someone with a little bit of photography experience take a nicer headshot for you, so you've got something that's more up to date and that school can kind of use that to help them in their evaluation process, just so they can put a face to the name. Hmm. Good question. Anybody else? I'm all yours, guys. I'm all ears. So whatever you need. You are welcome, Delaney. I'm glad it was beneficial for you. If you all have any questions in the future, don't hesitate to reach out. Be more than happy to help you. Sabrina, when after PTCAS is the most ideal time to submit applications to hopefully get first round interviews? So most of the time, Sabrina, it depends on the program's specific deadline. If they are a program that participates in rolling admissions, you obviously want to submit sooner rather than later. And our general rule of thumb, we recommend most applicants have their applications submitted before Labor Day. And main reason for that is you get it done before school, you get it done before kind of like the bookend, the final bookend of the summer, and it gives you an opportunity to be able to have that off your back when you go back to school if you're going returning to school. Now, with that being said, if you can submit in June or July and you're one of the first people that they review, if you have a really strong application, your likelihood of getting an interview invite is going to be higher because your application's in sooner. And they want to fill up their class with as many high quality applicants as soon as possible. So that's why you've seen over the past several years that a lot of programs have changed their application deadlines because then individuals are able to um, they're able to fill up their classes a lot sooner. And it's an arms race for schools to be able to get more applicants. So I don't know if there's like a definite answer, but I would look at your schools and look at when if they participate in rolling admissions and if they have a priority deadline. And in general, we usually recommend you submit at least a month before your earliest deadline, if at all possible. You're welcome, Courtney. You're welcome, Sabrina. Anybody else? Any other questions? Okay, well, I'll hang out for another couple minutes, but if no one else has any other questions, I wish you all the best of luck with your applications and looking forward to being able to see you all in the PT ranks in the future. You are so welcome. Thank you. You guys have a great rest of your day. Looks like we're